Now that we know the cause of overthinking, let's understand what are the remedies and how we can use those remedies to solve our problem of overthinking. The remedies that I offer are unique in the way they have to be implemented, and they are not any quick fix solution. Instead, you have to look them as some bigger framework or concepts that you will have to practice a lot in order to find any significant improvement in your overthinking and the symptoms associated with it. As I have told you earlier, I am myself somebody who thinks a lot, but overthinking has never really caused a problem in me because I use the remedies that I have prescribed below very easily in a fluid way. I was aware of those techniques since I was young, and you can say that I was a born thinker. I was always baffled when people said that they had thinking problems or overthinking problems because I never had any. However, over time, I learned that people indeed do not know how to think, and that causes various kinds of problems in their lives. So over time, I decided to make a structure, systems, and processes out of the techniques that I use to think, and in the language of those people who suffer from overthinking, in the art of overthinking. It's not easy to codify something that you do naturally. However, after so many years of trial, I finally came up with the following structures, principles, and science of overthinking. I have tested those models for the remedies of overthinking in hundreds of cases of counseling. The good news is that it works perfectly. The bad news is that I have to do that process for them, and it's not a natural thing for people to do. However, like a monkey sees, a monkey do, people learn from how I help them overthinking very fast. In the immediate case example that they bring me, where I help them with the process of overthinking using my techniques, they find immediate cure. However, to apply them in their daily lives on a long term basis definitely takes a lot of hard work and conscious practice. This is one of the reasons I decided to write this book, because so many people want solutions for something that is not such a big problem for me, and that comes so naturally, but they apparently are suffering from overthinking. I believe that the remedies that I'm offering here will help people in every aspect of life, from every age group, from every gender, from any situations of misery or problems that they are going through. However, I want to remind you that even the techniques which appear to be complex and vast here are just only 5% of the full range of techniques, principles, processes, science, models, whatever you call it, that I use. It would be ridiculous to overwhelm the reader with everything that I do in my mind, because they would give up. That said, I also put the blame on myself because the techniques are so advanced that I'm not able to yet codify them. Yes, despite having overthought for 50 years, I still can't put a finger on how I actually do what I do. I'm getting better, it's good, but I'm still not out there yet. So the processes that I'm offering are very pragmatic, practical, and very logical. As usual, I'll be using lots of diagrams to describe my ideas. So let us begin then. The most important principle that you have to learn, the most important principle that you have to learn is that what happens when people overthink without a framework. To answer this question, I want you to look at the diagram on your left hand side for those of you who are watching the video book, and to the diagram below for those who are reading the ebook version. In the diagram, you will see that there are two circles, and these two circles indicate the mind, or two states of the mind. Needless to say, on your left hand side is the mind where there is no framework and overthinking is occurring without any control. Now, on the right hand side, the mind has got a framework for overthinking, and overthinking is occurring within that particular framework, which is here rectangle, and I will talk about it later on. So let's look at the circle or the mind on your left hand side. It starts with a line, and as you can see, this line is moving inside the circle, indicating that thinking is going on. So as a thinking is going on, the complexity of the mesh of the lines is increasing, and it seems that it's becoming thicker, denser, and unmanageable. Now, this is what causes the symptoms of overthinking, where we feel that we are heavy, that our mind is about to explode, and all the various physical symptoms that I described earlier. It is as if this person is shrouded by a cloud around his face and body. The lines thus represents the thinking process which is going on at an infinite scale, unable to stop. The peculiarity of this diagram, you will see that there is neither beginning nor end, no middle. By the end, you stop overthinking. This is a terrible way to spend time in your mind. You can compare it to a room that is totally messy, in which the clothes are thrown everywhere around, scattered in the room. Next, I want you to look at the diagram on your left right hand side. Immediately you will see that there is a rectangle in it. Now, this is the structure that I'm talking about. This rectangle consists of four corners, which represents the four corners of thinking. You have to force your thinking line to move across those four corners in a systematic, organized, well mannered way, as I have shown in the diagram. Once you are able to move within this rectangle in a continuous loop, you will notice that the mind is not as cluttered as it was earlier. On the other side, you'll see that it was total mess, and there seemed to be no control. But on this side, you'll see it's very pleasant even to look at, because it seems so manageable. So let us see what are the four corners I'm talking about. The first corner is the best case scenario. Now, what you have to do here in your thinking is whatever you are thinking about, think about the best case scenario of that particular thought that you are having. Don't worry, I'll come up with some examples later on. But first, now let me describe to you the framework. The next corner is the worst case scenario. In this corner, you have to think of the worst thing that can happen to you in your mind with regards to the issue that you have been thinking on. Go as bad as it can get. Now, the third corner is the action to take corner. Here, you have to force your mind to think of what you can do right now or later on to alleviate the suffering caused by that particular problem. Unless there is some kind of action taken, then there cannot be a solution for overthinking because you'll be getting stuck in the mesh or the cobweb of your own overthinking. Finally, the fourth corner is the unknown currently corner. In this part of the thinking process, you have to force your thoughts to accept that you cannot possibly know everything, and it is those things that you do not know that is causing you lots of turmoil. So, what is the logical thing to do? Well, it is to accept that you do not know it and investigate who can help you, what can help you, or what book can help you in order to find the knowledge or information that you are lacking to complete the thought process that you are going through. Now, once you complete this last corner, you may again begin to repeat from the best corner scenario. In this way, you can repeat the cycle infinitely, but this time it will be in a structured way and you'll know what you have thought earlier, 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, 1 hour ago. This is very important for managing your overthinking, which is to know what you were thinking of earlier. Could it be that you were thinking about the worst case scenario? Or could it be that you were thinking of the best case scenario? Or could it be that you were thinking of the actions that you needed to take? Or could it be that you were thinking about the unknown parameters in your thinking and who you should consult in order to get answers and relieve you and your mind from the burden of overthinking? So now you understand the overthinking framework with a rectangle. Let me give you some example and it will be clear for you. Let's start with a very mundane overthinking problem like somebody said something to you that made you feel bad. I will not go into the specifics of what that feedback or comment was, but it made you feel down, low, and worthless, let's say. Instead of regurgitating like a cow over the food that went inside, use the rectangle that I have described to you. First of all, you can look at the best case scenario. You can think that the person who made that particular comment had no negative intentions and just made a comment out of the blue without any base or negative intentions as such. Then you move on to the worst case scenario where you think that the person who made that comment had the ill intention to really destroy you and will act upon that comment with real life altering uh, actions which you cannot possibly imagine yet. In the worst case, maybe that person will talk to everybody and spread a rumor and make everybody go against you. That would be very bad. Then let's talk about the third corner. Now, force yourself to think what actions you need to take in order to minimize the worst case scenario and increase the best case scenario's probability. So you can think of maybe confronting that person. You don't have to do what you think, but it's just a thought. Alternatively, you can decide that you will go to the gym and punch the punching bag, thinking that it was this person, and vent off your anger, and that's it. Still, you can think that you will consult or approach other people in your circle to find out if that particular person took the next step of spreading false rumors. Well, in terms of actions for this particular case, that should be quite exhaustive. Now we come to the final corner, which is the unknown corner. At this point, you have to force your thoughts to be humble, to accept that you might not know everything and most of what you are doing is purely assuming. Even the actions that you were thinking might not be practical and you do have no particular experience in this scenario to even take any such actions. You might not know the psychology of the person who made that comment, and you might not know the society that you are living in. Maybe it is acceptable here, or maybe it is not, and you are not aware of it. Also, you don't know yet whether confronting is better or staying quiet is better. So, there are so many unknowns. And still, the most unknown is the actual motive of the person who made that comment. Most likely, you will never know the truth, and this will be an unknown that you will have to live with. Having reached this far in your thoughts, what you need to do now is continue the best case scenario. So now this person will forget it and you will forget it. A worst case scenario will be that you will be haunted by it, by that comment. The action that you might need to take is really to consult a friend of that particular friend to know the psychology and the motive of that person. And the unknown parameter would be how that particular friend will react and whether the friend of that friend will cooperate with you and whether all this thing will not backfire. Having gone through such an iteration in the rectangle framework, you can be tired and call it a day, but you know where you stopped and why you stopped. It was a well spent day for the mind. In this way, you have learned the process of overthinking using the rectangle framework. I promise you, it works like magic, and whomever I counseled with this method found a lot of relief and happiness and was very, very grateful for the techniques that I have taught them. I hope that you too give it a try.